Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning. I'm Bob Pace. I want to give you a warm welcome to my podcast, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. Now, you found me on Facebook, Fight CPS with Bob Pace, and I'm glad you did because I'm hoping to help you with your CPS case. CPS has become a very troublesome agency, very corrupt. It's all about money. Sad to say, uh, most of the people I've talked to, about 99% of them, of the over 500 some people, say they take their children, they traffic their children, they alienate their children, they steal their children, all because of money. They're not there to help you. And I'm sad to say that, but that's what it seems to be like. It was in my case too. Yes, I was in CPS. Sadly, I lost a home, I lost a child, I lost my credit, I lost a lot to CPS. I've been fighting them for 15 years. And it was a really tragic experience I had to go through. And I really don't want to see you guys go through it. Now, this podcast is broadcast twice a day. I do this twice a day. I've done this for over a year. And I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time. And then again on at nighttime at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I do deviate that on a couple of days there. On Friday, I have my Friday Night Lights, which is high school football. And so I do my show time 3 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll let you know as I get closer to you the time. Saturday, I come on a couple hours early at 8 o'clock in the morning because my attorney, and I want to thank him for what he does, Vincent W. Davis. He provides this podcast. He's done a lot to help out people. He helped me out too. Anyway, he has a Zoom meeting on Saturday at 10 o'clock, and I don't want to conflict with his Zoom meeting. I like him to have full audience. So I come on at 8 o'clock, which gives him a chance to have people come to his place. And as you heard him, he has a very important Zoom meeting with questions and answers on Saturday. It will play again if you missed the websites that are on the page there, but it'll play again at the end of my podcast. Now on Sunday I go to church, so I start my podcast 2 hours early at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's so I can be at church by 10:30. And so those 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, are a little different than the norm. But you'll find me 14 shows a week, twice a day, Monday through Sunday. And I'm really glad you took this. Now, who am I? I'm a loving father with a large family. I have 6 children. Been married twice. I've had a 10-year marriage. And I didn't want it to end, but it did. It did. And then I've had a 32-year marriage. And I have 3 older children and 3 younger children. And unfortunately, me and my wife were going through hard times because I had recently lost my job. Um, I recently lost my job. And I think we have a guest this evening or this morning. Her name is Sherry. Welcome, Sherry. When you become resident, I'll be able to bring you aboard. Right now, I cannot see you. It says it's not connected, but I know you're trying. Keep trying there. But unfortunately, at the age of 60, after working for Friday 45 years, I lost my job through no fault of my own. And I've been struggling. And during that struggle period for 5 years, CPS took advantage of me. They love to take advantage of people on hard times or low income. And so I um, was going through hard times because I was saving my money for my mortgage. I wanted to keep my home. I had a beautiful home. I did lose my home as well as my credit because of CPS. I did lose a very valuable child, our daughter, and that she was brainwashed into thinking that she could emancipate from us. And in 12 years of age in California, they can. But I have a lot of family experiences, a lot of CPS experiences. I've developed uh, 5 basic rules that help you. One is you need to get a dependency family juvenile attorney. I'll talk more about that. Two, you need to organize your paperwork and put it in a notebook, and you need to create what's called a timeline incident page. And I'll explain more about that. Three, you do not open the door to anybody. Too many people are being needlessly killed by opening the door. Not only that, you certainly don't have to open them to policemen or social workers. You don't need to talk to them. That's your constitutional right and civil rights. And you certainly don't need to give up your children. Don't let them in your home because they're fishing. They're going to look for things in your home. Don't give them your children because you never will get them back. So they are only in certain ways they can come in to do that. So I'll talk more about that. Also, I'll talk about medical kidnapping. Because I've been doing that a lot lately, where you take your child into urgent care emergency, and suddenly there's a social worker who says that she has to take the child because you committed something wrong. But anyway, so don't talk to them. Do not let them have your child, and do not open your door, and do not let them in your home. Now, rule number 4 is a research rule. It's where you guys spend at least 60 hours learning everything is about your CPS case. There's so much valuable information on the internet that you need to structure your questions in such a way as you get as much information as you can about your case. Your case can be won, but there's certain ways you got to go about doing it. And lastly, you need to create a medical folder for not medical, but a legal information folder of all your birth certificates of your children, their social security cards, your marriage certificate, your driver's license, their medical records, their school records, like grade reports, things like that. So we'll talk more about that. That's really important. Those are my 5 basic rules that I wish I had done would have helped me. Now, I want to welcome um, Megan Karsprick. Um, this is a new format because I don't know if this is another room or something, but Megan Karspecks. I don't know if this is something that's come on. I've been having trouble lately with my 8 rooms. I have 8 rooms that are connected to bring people in here. The first one is all offices of Vincent Davis and Associates. The next room is the reality series, CPS The Horror Stories. The next one is my room, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. Then we have Relatives Fight CPS. And then we have Juvenile Dependency. Then we have Fight CPS, Real Talk with Mrs. G. And then we have Vincent Davis's room, The Secret How to Fight CPS. Lastly, we have the YouTube room, CPS Defense Strategy. And Megan Kasperick, and Paulette. Hi there, Paulette. Welcome. Paulette's from South Carolina. Megan, I don't know where you're from. It says, even if you're representing my ex, my law firm may be representing it, but I don't know. Grace, if you can hear me, we have an overlap of two of the comments on top of one of the rooms. One of the rooms it's overlapping with it, and I'm not sure what room that is, but it's overlapping it. So anyway, welcome, Paulette. I'm glad to see you again. I know you were traveling around a bit and you're trying to get some questions answered. Paulette is from South Carolina and has a CPS case that she's working on. And Megan, I don't know where you're from, but if you could tell me, that would be great. Now, a couple other things. When I use the word CPS, I mean the Child Protection System. Every state, every county um, will have a different name for the Child Protection System. A lot of them are the same as other states, but some are different. One's like the Cabinet, Arizona's Department of Children's Services, in California, Child Protection Services. But when I say the Child Protection System, I mean all of them. It's a branch of social services that's mandated by Congress to protect our children from neglect and abuse, to protect our children, not to kidnap our children, not to alienate our children, but to protect our children. I emphasize the word protection because the child protection system has been doing nothing but stealing our children, trafficking our children, alienating our children, which is wrong. That's illegal. And they're also supposed to help you in the need of food, uh, clothing, shelter, transportation, educational, medical, and even a job. A lot of you don't know that. They're supposed to help you. They're part of social services. It's very important if you're going through hard times that you get assistance. That's what the social service department's for. It's assistance. I know the branch to protect our children, CPS, Child Protection System, to protect our children, but they're supposed to help out families in need. And lastly, if they need to break apart the family because the children are in extreme danger by one or two of the parents or some other family member, uh, then they take the child and put them in foster care, which is a bad thing. And then they're supposed to do what's called family reunification. That means they're supposed to bring the family back together to reunify them because studies have shown the best parents are the biological parents. And I cannot emphasize enough about that. Um, I'm going to switch to my uh, speaker um, on my computer. I don't need to have the mouse ears on my head because I'm broadcasting from home. I'm so used to doing my morning broadcasts out. But yesterday I had a lot of truck traffic, a lot of noise, and so I'm trying something in there. I thank you so much for the emojis that Paulette and Gupart Kalawaka Kishiba. You must be from another country, which is great. I'm glad that we have other countries. Um, Thank you for the thumbs up, Gepard. Um, yes, mine is a worldwide podcast. Um, and everybody who's involved in CPS is welcomed, not only in the United States, but elsewhere, because we have a lot to learn from each other. And oh, good. Sherry, are you connected okay? Can you hear me, Sherry? We're very fortunate to have a guest this morning, and I'm going to log you on, Sherry, and you start to hear about you.
Hi.
Hi, good morning, Sherry. Can you hear
Good
me
morning.
okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host, and I'm glad to meet you, and I warmly welcome you. Have you been on our show before or seen the
No.
show? So this is
I've seen it, but I've never been on it.
yeah, so you know pretty much the format I do. I try to welcome everybody with a particular case. Would you like to talk to me about your case?
Um, yes, my case began in 2021, May 2021. I'm from Los Angeles. It's out of Monterey Park.
Okay.
Um, the child is 7, or he's 6, but he's going to be 7. He was 4 when it started. I'm an Indian. I have a tribe in Nebraska. This is an ICWA case. I also have a child that was previously in CPS who I didn't reunite with, which was a big issue. That case, anyways. So
It's okay. Take your
it's
time.
so overwhelming because there's so much information and we're such short on time. I'm trying to figure out what facts.
No, it's fine. My best recommendation is to start up with your family makeup. Start from the beginning. Were you married? Do you have a husband, wife, a boyfriend, a partnership, or lovers? And are both parents involved? Are you different parents with different children? Those kinds of things.
Okay. I'm a single mother. But the father is involved also, but he decided he hasn't been involved in the child's life. So they just terminated his rights.
Ouch. Ouch.
The child is actually with his parents though.
Your in-laws. Your
Yes.
in-laws. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what were the allegations? What were the allegations?
General neglect is the main allegation.
And what was the details of general neglect? I mean, what was he neglecting? Was he not supervising the child?
No, nothing like that. It's basically because I had a previous case. What happened was that the previous case I had was for failing to protect. I was in a domestic violence relationship, and my child witnessed some of it, and that was how that one started. So,
can we start with that first case so that we can start from the very, very, very beginning?
Okay. So yeah, the very beginning. So I was my child witnessed domestic violence, and they filed a case based on failure to protect, but also because
Were you married to a different guy or living with a different guy?
I was living with a different guy, and there was only one incident that had happened, but they were also basing it on because we'll start from the very beginning. I'm a child. CPS came and took me from my parents.
Oh, so you're former foster care.
I'm a former foster care.
I was thinking that was true because CPS, I don't mean to interrupt you, but CPS preys on foster children because they hope you grow up and have children yourself, and then they're going to take your children because they know it's easy money.
Yes. I was taken and we were adopted out. We were actually adopted out to a family who had just lost their children, but because this was a long time ago, they didn't have records from state to state. So the mother that adopted us lost her kids in Nebraska or in Colorado, and then she adopted in Nebraska. So
how was it growing up as a foster child? How were you treated?
Well, there was 3 of us adopted. My brother and sister were also with me. I was the youngest. I have a 4th brother who, when CPS came to take the children, he was at the store with my mom's friends, so they didn't get him. He ended up staying with my mother for his entire life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she took the 3 of us. They adopted us out to the same family. My sister was 2 years older than me. She died when she was 10. She had liver cancer. My brother, they said that he had mental health issues. He was in the psychiatric hospital a lot. And then the family ended up leaving him at a home in Texas for abandoned children when he was 12. and they reunited him with my mother by the age of 14. Like 10 years into the adoption, they just left him, abandoned him, and he was reunited with my mom 2 years after being in that home. So I was the only surviving child that with that family. They weren't. I didn't have any physical abuse or sexual abuse or anything like that with them. The mother that adopted me was later on. She was murdered, and then I started using drugs, and I got in a lot of trouble when I was younger, from the age of 16 to probably 28, something like that. And so I had an extensive drug history of criminal record leading up to that. And that is basically still what CPS continues to base all of their allegations on. But these are cases from 20 years ago. But they're calling it extensive drug history because they're taking cases from 1997 to 2005. So moving forward, I had my daughter, and I was still, I ended up getting her back. Like, I had unmonitored visits, and at that time I wasn't aware that.
Why did they take away your daughter? What was the allegation there?
That was the failure to protect, and then the drug history.
Okay. And what about the father at that time? Was he involved or he disappeared?
He was not involved. No.
Okay. So you're a single mom. You had your first child, and right away they took that child from you. And what were and you were charged with neglect? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was failure to protect.
Oh,
and then neglect.
Okay, neglect. Okay.
And it was an ICWA case.
What became of that first case?
Well, I had unmonitored visits. I'd gotten unmonitored, and at that time I didn't know that because it was an ICWA case, I should have moved to just have my child returned, because once it's unmonitored, in an Indian case, the rules are a little bit different, and she could have been returned to me, but I didn't know that. I had gotten got arrested during that time, and ended up staying in jail for 9 months. And
what were you arrested for? What were you arrested for?
I got arrested for speeding, and then it ended up turning into a counterfeit money case. And then I ended up.
How did you get arrested for speeding? Isn't it just a ticket, or were you going too fast?
No, I wasn't. It was in Arizona. It was actually an illegal. It was found to be an illegal arrest.
Well, that's a traffic violation. That's not being arrested.
So it was found to be an illegal arrest later on. But when I went to the court, when I went to the CPS court and showed them, hey, they found this to be an illegal arrest. This should have, can you restore me back to where I was prior to this happening? And I went to them with a 388 motion, and they denied it. By that time, my daughter was with my father and already kind of set in. So I just, I didn't lose my rights to her. I just, it was guardianship.
So because you had a traffic violation,
it was okay. I got arrested for the traffic violation, but it stayed in jail for 9 months because it turned into a lot like the laundering.
You must have had a warrant out. Did you have a warrant out for your arrest?
At that time, no. They
well, how would they? Because you're speeding, unless you're going over 100 miles an hour, they wouldn't necessarily arrest you.
Right. He wanted to do an illegal search, is what it came down to. Like, so he had arrested me for speeding, and then he did a search, and he said he found counterfeit money, which I ended up beating the whole case. But it took me 6 months in jail to fight the case, to beat it.
So he arrested you for illegally having possession of counterfeit money?
Well, he arrested me for speeding, but that was the premise to search the car. And then when he searched the car, he said he found counterfeit money.
Well, you could have refused him to search your car unless he had a warrant to do so.
Well, I did refuse him, and that's why he arrested me. So he did an inventory, it was called.
that's an interesting thing there because, you know, pulling you over for a traffic violation shouldn't involve an arrest.
Correct.
You know, and searching your car, you can sit there and say, unless you have a warrant, you're not searching my car.
Right. But it was an inventory. And the case, it took 6 months, but I did end up getting it dismissed.
And where did your first child be all that time? Where was she?
She was with my father at that time.
Okay. So your father took care of your child. Now, was CPS involved?
Yes, CPS was involved because remember I had unmonitored visits and then I got
Right,
this arrest.
right.
So then while I was
arrested, they were okay with you having your daughter with your father.
Yes. Well, she'd actually went back to my father. She went with a foster family at first, and then she went back to my dad at the end for guardianship.
Okay.
So during my daughter's case, I was represented by the dependency lawyers, but I had a fairly good one. I was driving from Arizona to California to visit my child, and they would only give me an hour of visitation. And when the lawyer brought that up to the judge was very upset about it, and she actually she found that they weren't making active efforts, and she had them send me a check for $3,000 to pay for transportation for visitation because I lived in a different state, and they had to buy me a plane ticket to fly for each visitation. They were not very happy with me.
Now I have a question. You mentioned that you're representative by a dependency attorney. Is that someone you hired?
No, I was just blessed, and I was given an attorney from the.
Oh, it's called a court-appointed attorney.
A court-appointed attorney, but it was somebody who was very aggressive, and I forgot.
Well, that was surprising because most of court-appointed attorneys have 30 or more clients. They don't have time to aggressively help you. They're just trying to make it go away by easy accepting things. So
I agree.
I'm glad you were very fortunate. One of the few I've talked to that had a court-appointed attorney that did anything. So that's good. So
as time went on, I had a second child.
Different father?
A different father.
Yeah.
And
is he involved or is he gone too?
He is not involved, no.
Okay. So you had two fathers so far that just want to make babies but have no responsibility for what they make.
Yeah.
That's sad. I'm telling all you listeners out there and fathers, if you make a baby, you're responsible to help out with that child. Whether you're still together with your partner or whether you're separated, you're responsible to help. It's very hard for a woman or a man to raise a child by themselves. You know, it's really, really hard. And I'm just unfortunate you've had that experience there. So you have a second child. Now, what happened right there? Did they
well,
did CPS take your child or what?
What happened was I was in, again, a domestic violence relationship happened. So I took my child, and because I wasn't, I hadn't left the relationship yet, I took my child and I asked the grandmother to help me with him because I didn't want the same thing to happen to where I wasn't protecting him, and because I wasn't leaving yet. So I took him to the grandma's house, the father's mom's house. I didn't tell her the details why. She kept him for a couple months until I was able to leave. And during that time, she got connected with him. She wanted him for herself, basically. She called Children's Services and she asked them how she could get custody of Ryder. At that time, Children's Services told the grandma everything about my daughter's case, all the details about my daughter's case. They told her that it would be difficult, that I would fight her, that I wasn't going to just sign over my rights, and that I was going to fight her. And they told her all the details about the petition, everything. So when I went to go see Ryder and pick him up, she told me that she called. And she told me that she knew about my daughter, and and she told me what she said. So at that point, I took Ryder out of her care, and I didn't take him back there for a long time, like, well, about 8 months, almost close to a year. But because we don't have family, extended family, he doesn't have any like really extended family. I thought that I would try to mend that relationship because I would want him to have his grandparents and some uncles and cousins in his life because that's important.
Right.
So I went ahead and I mended that relationship, or I thought I mended that relationship. At that time, though, she was still calling CPS, making allegations. And then in May 2021, I had gotten this guy on the driving. I guess it was a traffic dispute with this gentleman. And I went to my storage afterwards, and Ryder and I went in the storage, and we came out, and then the police were there when I came out of the storage. We weren't in a vehicle, and because I wouldn't cooperate with the police at that time,
what was the traffic violation that they accused you of?
Right, the DUI.
Oh, you were probably driving erratically, and they pulled you over, right?
No, I wasn't even in a car when anybody pulled me over. I was outside the car. I was at my storage. So yeah, but they're charging with a DUI.
That, you said you were stopped by the police.
I wasn't in a vehicle.
So you were walking to the storage unit?
We were walking out of the storage unit.
Well, okay. I thought you said you were involved with a traffic violation before you even went to storage.
Correct. I went kind of like a dispute with this guy on the street. I went to my storage. We parked.
Okay, you had a dispute with a guy, not with a policeman.
No. So this guy.
What was the dispute about?
Just driving. Like it was my fault. Like I had cut him off, and it upset him.
Okay, you were driving, and you and another driver, he was mad because you did something to him in your driving, right?
Right. He didn't think that right.
So he must have called you in. The reason why I'm bringing that up, I'm trying to figure out why the police are following you.
Right. Oh yeah. No, because
what happened is that he had your license plate, and he called you in and said there was a drunk woman.
No, he followed me. And I knew he'd followed me like until I turned into the storage. The gentleman had. He was like chasing me.
Do you know anything about when people follow you, you're supposed to go directly to the police station?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just telling you that for the future, and all you listeners out there, that if somebody's following you, you have a road rage or a problem on the road, you do not go home or go to your storage. You go direct to the police station. You get out of your car and you walk into the police station and say someone's following you. That's for your protection, because people with road rage will use their cars to kill you. They will use a gun. They're not afraid anymore. One moment, please, as I got all these people that have come to the room, and I need to tell them hi, and I'll be 1 minute, be right back with you.
Okay.
Megan Kasparis, oh boy, got a call come in. Sometimes it gets, okay, Megan, I still don't know where you're from. She was my first person in the room, and she said that either you're representing my ex. So I don't know if my law firm is representing her ex or not. Paulette is from South Carolina, and she was sitting there touching base. She says, I need to ask a question. There is no DSS case against me because it was closed. The CPS case was closed. Now I just found out yesterday that they were kicked out of the house in Florida. Now they're in Abigail. She has 4 children and a husband that takes her children all over the place. She has a big mess. Ever since she got the temporary custody a year ago, of that, CPS bullcrap has moved 5 states. The dad, let me see here. The dad doesn't even have a job, doesn't have a home, no health insurance for him. He hasn't been to school in months. There is no communication between the dad and me, and will never answer the phone, or not general. Paulette, you need to call me. You need to schedule your time as a guest. I'd love to have you on the show. And it's keep stalling. I know, Paulette. Bart Howard, welcome. You're new. Question: can anyone please help me find a lawyer to sue a CPS in Jacksonville, Florida? That ultimate kidnapping my 3 months child. Thank you. Yes. What you need to do there, Bert, is you need to look up under the word your city. And if it's a big city, just have a small city, then both cities. So if you're in Jacksonville, that's a big city. So you say you're looking in Jacksonville for a CPS dependency family juvenile attorney. I have one here at my law firm that you can call and talk to. And so I'll get back with you, Bart, but I got these other people that are in here. Now, Archie, I know who you are. Archie is from Liberia in Africa. He's been in and out talking to me. He is a scouter. He does scouting with the children. So, Archie, I'm glad to have you here and welcome back. It's been a long time since I've talked to you. So those are the only people in my room now. Faye just tried to call from Richmond, Kentucky, but I can only talk to one person at a time. So I'll tell her what to do. Now, you're going to your storage unit. You walk there. The police have been alerted that you're supposedly drunk. They see you at your storage unit. Did you talk to them?
I did talk to them. And I wasn't not cooperative, but I wasn't, I think they had me do a sobriety test, like touching your nose or something, and I passed, but she wanted to like go further. She wanted me to go do blood or something. I said, that's fine if you get a warrant, like that's not a problem. But she saw that as being uncooperative. So she said that she was going to arrest me, and which she did. And then she arrested me, but they didn't end up filing charges. But I had a driving on a suspended I had to take care of. So I went ahead and I did 10 days in jail for driving on a suspended license.
Now, did they determine that you were under the influence, or did they give you a test?
Yeah, they gave me the test, but like the field test.
Like walk a straight line? Did they ask you to walk a straight line?
Yes, and I did.
And how did you do?
I did. I passed it. I wasn't intoxicated. Okay.
So why did they pursue you further?
Because of my attitude, I guess, towards them, and because of my uncooperation. I wasn't cooperative with her. Like,
so what were they trying to get you on then, if they couldn't get you for being drunk?
Oh, she arrested me for a DUI.
But I thought you said you passed the test.
I did. So but because I had an attitude with her, and she wanted me to have me volunteer to take blood, and I wasn't willing to do that without a warrant. She decided to arrest me.
Well, she can't arrest you.
But she didn't file charges. They arrested me, and but I guess the DA didn't file the charges. There's no charges at that time that came of it, but I had a warrant for driving on a suspended license that I went ahead and I did 10 days for to get that out of the way. So during those 10 days, the grandma, not the CPS, notified CPS, and because the grandma picked Ryder up, and then the grandma saw it as her chance to swoop in and get Ryder.
Okay.
So when I was in jail, they served me with papers.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
But I got out the day before the actual emergency removal hearing. They weren't expecting me to be out. I got out the day before, and I immediately called my Indian worker. I immediately went and tested, and then I attended the hearing. At the hearing,
they were asking Indian worker. What do you mean by Indian?
Because I'm my Ponca tribe. My tribe's in Nebraska. We have an ICWA.
Okay, so you have your children you're a member of one of the 548 federal recognized tribes in the United States, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, are you registered with that tribe or could be registered? What is your relationship with that
I'm
tribe?
registered with the tribe, and so is my child.
Okay. So the ICWA Act, and since you brought that up, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978 was an act passed to help out parents, Indian children, parents that were Indian that had Indian children do reunification with their families. What was happening, the child protection system was taking Indian children all the time and never do reunification. So it mandates that the CPS um, turn over the children to the tribe and have them. The tribe will then put them with an Indian family and have them become reunified with their real family. And so, um, uh, so CPS was refusing to turn over your children to the Indian tribe.
My tribe is in Nebraska. We're not local tribe.
Does
So
it make a difference where your tribe is? They have to turn over the child to the tribe.
I'm into my case about 2.5 years, and I barely had my attorney submit a motion to transfer my case to tribal court. My tribe rejected the case. They're not taking, they wouldn't take it.
Even though you're registered.
Yeah. And my actually tribal representative is actually active in my case. She attends all my hearings. This just happened, so I haven't spoken with her about why they would reject the case. I think that they feel they wouldn't be able to monitor the case from over there. I'm not exactly sure, but I did tell her there were agencies over here that would work with them. They're from Nebraska. I don't know if that they're maybe not as advanced as
Well, I don't know. There's one big tribe in Oklahoma called the Cherokee. The Cherokee used to live in Florida, but in the 1870s, when they started relocating Native American Indian tribes to Oklahoma, that was one of the tribes that they moved. I have talked to various tribes. I've not talked to your tribe. I'm familiar with the Lakota Sioux at the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota and the Muskie tribe in Oklahoma, but I don't think I've covered your tribe before. And so I don't know what your tribe's constitution is or anything like that. But hold on one second. I need to get my power cable because it fell out.
Unfortunately, because I was adopted, I don't have a lot of ties to the tribe. Even though I am registered, I have never been to any powwow. I've never been to I don't know any of the customs. I don't know anything like that. I don't know any of the Indian people, but I have been in contact with them. I tried to attend their ICWA board meeting, which I couldn't get.
Well, you need to, if you have an advocate, you said you have a tribe member, you need to push her to do her job. She's supposed to place your child with the Indian family. That's the law.
Right.
So many years since like over 100 years, Indian people have been so abused. They were our first immigrants, by the way. A lot of people don't recognize that the Native American Indians, we're all Native, by the way, once we're born here in the United States, but the American Indian is one of the first immigrants, and they've been abused all their lives. The Indians have so many broken treaties and promises, and they're a very sad state. I mean, at the Rosebud Reservation next door, there is the other reservation that is the poorest place in the country. They live in poverty. I mean, just because they have casinos, because casinos came into play because they can be on Indian land, it's not federal land, and they can illegally have casinos. So that's where a lot of tribes make a lot of money. Now, I don't know much about your tribe. Could you spell out your name of your tribe so I can look up real quick?
It's PONCA of Nebraska.
So it's okay. PONA.
NCA, Ponca.
Oh, NCA, Ponca. Okay, tribe. in Nebraska. Okay. What area of Nebraska is it?
I think it is the would it be the east side of Nebraska? It's Lincoln and Omaha is I think where they're headquartered.
Omaha. Okay.
And actually, like I said, I was adopted. My biological mother is actually on the elders board of the tribe. I haven't spoke with her, but I've written the tribe several times, including, requesting several things and giving them information. I just don't know if they have the experience or they really have knowledge of like what.
Well, it says here that the Pocono people are thought to migrated to the Great Plains from the Ohio River Valley. I guess that's originate. In the mid 16th century, Pocono people migrated with the Kansas, Omaha, and Osage up to the Mississippi. They separated from Omaha in the mid 17th century, but reunited with them near the Naroba River, Nebraska in 1793. Now,
Well, the ICWA requires that active efforts be made prior to the removal of the child. That means that they have to try to keep the Indian family together, and they have to show evidence that they've tried to keep this Indian family together before removing the child. There's also the standards.
Right.
Standards are supposed to be lower than a regular case, a little bit lighter, because there's been so much separation of Indian families. So they really were trying to encourage the keeping those families together. In my case, unfortunately, what the worker said was that their active effort was they tried to. I didn't reunite with my daughter during that time, so that was their effort in keeping me and my son together, and that was all they did. So then they were able to remove him, and the judge found that was enough for active efforts.
Okay. I have a phone number for Nicobra, Nebraska. Do you need that number?
No, the Nick was at the.
It's 402-857-3391.
Okay.
402-857-3391.
Yes.
And their office hours are 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in contact with I haven't spoke with them since this last hearing, but I am in contact with my representative. It was kind of strange. About 6 months into my son's case, my ICWA worker was changed at the same time my social worker was changed. They put me into the American Indian unit of the CPS. There's a special unit that deals with ICWA cases. The unit is out of, I think, El Monte. And it's a special ICWA CPS worker, which there wasn't anything. I don't think, I'm not sure what her specialty is, but, and at the same time,
they have a phone number for the CPS branch of the Pocono tribe, 402-438-9222. That is the director, and her name is Stephanie
Popinsilly.
Yeah. And her email address is SP, so you can write her.
Yes, I've emailed her. I asked them, I was kind of curious because I've made suggestions to them about like, I wanted to know how they make their recommendations, because they can recommend to the court they come to every hearing and they make their own recommendations, but they've never really reached out to speak with me. I'm always reaching out to them. I was wondering how they were able to make a recommendation without speaking with me. There's been evidence that my social worker has lied to the judge about things, and with paper evidence, and so it would be hard for me to put trust in somebody like that. And I was trying to point that out to them, but it's it's frustrating because the ICWA is actually a special tool to actually help you, and I don't feel like it has been implemented correctly in my case by both my tribe and the courts and the CPS workers.
So the outcome of that incident at the storage, what was the outcome?
Well, I did 10 days in jail for a warrant I had for driving on a suspended license.
Okay, so there was a warrant. I'm trying to understand why you see, when they took you to jail, did they test you for alcohol, the blood test?
Yes, and it came negative.
Okay, so they didn't do that, but you had an outstanding warrant. What was the warrant for?
Driving on a suspended license.
Okay, and let me tell all the listeners, including yourself, never ignore appearance to appear at a case, because a warrant will be issued and it'll come at the worst time of your life. I tell people, always show up. If you show up and you need more time, you can ask the judge for more time. You can ask for a stay. There's lots of things you can do, but never refuse to show up, because when you sign a ticket, it's a promise to appear. And that's where they really hit people bad with warrants. So I'm not trying to scold you. I'm not saying it's your fault or anything there. I'm trying to tell, because I have thousands of people listening, not only in the United States, but I have Liberia and Africa. I have Lebanon. I just recently got someone from Lebanon speaking on this. So Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh, New Delhi, India, Canada, Alberta, Mexico, even Grenada down in South America, Australia. So I have, Europe, England, Scotland, Wales, and Sweden and Denmark. So I'm telling everybody, a warrant is a serious documentation. It should be always, never want to have a warrant issued for you. And all it is a promise to appear. If you can't make it, then you call into the court and ask for extension of time, or you circumstances, you're arrested, you're in jail, another matter, something like that. So anyway, so you had the warrant, and so what was the punishment of the warrant?
10 days. I did 10 days in jail.
Okay, and meanwhile, your two children, because by now you have two children, right?
Yes, well, one of them's with my father, guardianship.
Right. And the second one is with who?
The grandma picked it up. The paternal grandma.
I'm glad that you have with relatives, because a lot of times they want to put it in foster care. Now, what about the next child? Because we have about 3 minutes left of the show here, or 5 minutes left. You have another third child, right?
No, I don't have a third child. That's only two.
So we only have those two. So you have one that is with your grandmother, and then one that is
both are with grandparents.
Grandparents, yeah. All right. Now, where are you at with CPS now?
Well, we're bouncing
they're bouncing you to the Indian tribe, right?
No, they're not. No, they're not. My tribe did not accept the case, which I'm going to be calling them today and finding out what happened with that and why they didn't accept the case. I have right now I have a termination hearing on November 20th, but I also have.
Well, don't forget the termination hearing, and if you happen, heaven forbid, you lose it, make sure you appeal. But you can appeal the tribe's decision. By the way, you can make an appeal to the Indian tribe and appeal that decision from it. You need to get your attorney, and you say you have a court-appointed attorney, and you said that he is schooled in dependency law?
No, that was my attorney for my daughter's case. For my son's case, they changed my attorney at every hearing, right before the hearing, which is I always had an attorney that was not prepared to.
Well, that's true, because they don't want you to succeed.
Right.
You see, CPS, they make money every time they have a case open. They're making generally $20,000 per month on that child. And so it's $1 trillion business for bonuses and incentives. So I'm sad that you're taken advantage of, but you need to appeal that decision by the tribe. And you need to contact those numbers I gave you, the tribe, and say you wish to place an appeal. Also, that lady that you're talking to from the tribe, you need to ask her to help you with the appeal.
Right. correct.
Because you should not be denied by your own tribe because you are a tribal. You're registered. You're
Right.
registered. And it takes a lot to be registered because I think your blood has to be at least 0.25%. I
Right.
think your blood has to be 25%. And then you got to be recognized by the tribe. And so those are hurdles because will have to turn the child over to the Indian tribe, but the tribe is making it difficult for not accepting you, and you got to find out if they give you a reason why they won't accept you.
No, I'm going to be calling them today, like I said, and have her explain it to me because I'd actually spoken with her right before the hearing, and she said, and I was trying to give her some resources that were out in Los Angeles of some tribal organizations that can help them manage a case if it was out here. I even told her I was willing to move to Nebraska if it need be. And she said that she was going to put the case off, but then when the hearing came, they actually rejected the case. And I didn't contact her.
You can do what's called an appeal. You can appeal that rejection.
Okay.
Have to understand, anytime, and this goes to all my listeners, anytime you're involved with the law and it doesn't go your way, you can always appeal it. You can always appeal it. Everything is appealable, but you got to be careful with statute of limitations because typically it's 30 days or less. You have to make that appeal.
Yeah. So I've completed my case plan. It's been completed. They didn't like the type of counselor I chose, so I had to redo counseling with the type of counselor that they wanted. I've submitted to over 25 clean tests. But the judge went 18 months at the 18-month hearing because there were a couple excused tests that the worker didn't excuse, like one where she actually took my name out of the testing ring. So when my name got called up, they wouldn't allow me to test because she had canceled my testing. So it wasn't on the list. So there were a couple incidents. One, I had court, so I missed a testing, but because the judge wanted to see more testing, even though there were already like 14 tests behind me. She said that because of the extensive drug history from 20 years ago, she wanted to see more testing. So she extended the case an additional 6 months beyond the 18-month timeline, which so now we're into 2 years just because she wanted to see more testing.
One moment, Sherry. I have a visitor come in that we've not heard from a long time. Her name is Danielle Watt. She used to be on my show a lot. She's from Georgia, and I'm okay. And how are you doing, Danielle? How's it going with getting guardianship of your son who's 19 and stuck in another state? He was transferred from Georgia to Texas when he was under 18. Then he turned 18 and CPS won't let him go. And he's now 19. And Danielle says that he's a special need child and she wants to get guardianship. Oh, congratulations. Here's some good news. Everybody, Danielle says her son is coming home this week.
Yay.
I'm so good to hear that news. That is really great.
That's awesome.
Danielle, thank you for sharing. Sherry, we don't have really much more time. It doesn't mean you can't be on my show again.
Okay. I have one question. So this is just a total different subject. I just wanted to touch on the P. Diddy allegations against CPS. Are you familiar with them about the corruption with CPS and that they were actually they're being accused of trafficking some of these children? Have you heard anything about that?
Oh, yeah. The CPS does traffic, does steal.
Right. So I did already write the governor. I wrote the governor, asked her for an accounting of all the missing children out of Los Angeles County, because I mean, with my son in the system, like I don't understand with this. I mean, how can we be trusting of such a system that's so corrupt? I don't know how they can still have.
Well, it's all because of money. They've killed a person, Nancy Schaefer in Georgia, a senator,
right,
that was fighting CPS. So they are unscrupulous, corrupt. They are scrupulous. And so I have Faye on the line from Kentucky on my other phone line, and she has been fighting CPS for 13 years. And they
30.
Okay.
30.
30 years. I'm sorry, because then she was once involved in. So yeah, she's been fighting for 30 years. And anyway, they've come back negative recently just to put her down again. They're very corrupt in Kentucky. Sherry, what I'd like to do is that would you be interested in talking to Mr. Davis? He has a
Yes.
50-minute time. All you need to do is contact Faye.
Okay.
You know who? Excuse me, Grace. I'm sorry, Grace. You contact Grace at vincentwdavis.com. The same way you got to be a guest on my show. You
Okay.
contact her by email. Give them your name, your email, and your phone number, and she will arrange you 15 minutes of free consultation with Mr. Davis.
Okay.
And he can really help you because you got your case coming close.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I will
So
contact her
I
today.
do want to thank you for being on my podcast, but I'm going to have to cut it short because I've been on for 1 hour and my host, Grace, is already gone. So I have to sign off. But please email Grace
I will.
at
Thank you so much.
www.davis.com and tell me you're a guest on my show and that you like 15 minutes of time with Mr. Davis. And that's
Okay.
no charge. And ask him some important questions about your ICWA because you should be able to appeal that ICWA decision and be able to be representative with the tribe. So good
Okay.
luck with that, Sherry.
Thank you so much.
I want to thank hearing from Danelle with the good news. Diane Watt is now getting her son back, and she's been fighting on that for a year or longer than that. Yes, Paulette from South Carolina. I agree. All states are bad. I think all the people I've talked to, I don't talk to too many good times there. Yes, North Carolina is bad. That's where Paulette is from. So, or she's from South Carolina. I'm sorry. She's from South Carolina. And North Carolina just went through a bad disaster there. So thank you, Paulette, Danielle, and see who else we got in the room in here. We had Bert. I hope you can find that attorney that you're looking for. Thank you, Bert. And then I have Megan Kasprick. I don't know where you're from, but thank you for coming in. And Archie. Archie Mann is a scouter from Liberia, Africa, the northwest coast in northern Africa. It's so good to hear from you, Archie. He's from International. And thank to all my listeners. I'll be on again tonight at 8 o'clock, at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. God bless you all. Keep fighting for your case. And this is Bob Pace signing off.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.